The first knock came at 2:17 in the morning. It wasn't loud. It wasn't violent. It was soft, like small knuckles tapping from inside the wall beside my bed. I thought it was a pipe. Old houses make noises, right? But pipes don't knock in patterns. 3 taps. Pause. 3 taps again. If you're listening right now and you live in an old house, you might want to pay attention to this story. And if you love real nightmare fuel like this, make sure you like and subscribe to Unblinking, because what happened next still doesn't make sense to me. I didn't move at first. I just stared at the dark wall beside my bed, trying to convince myself it was nothing. The house had always been quiet before that night. Then, it happened again. 3 taps. Slow. Careful. Like someone trying not to be heard. My heart started pounding. The wall was solid plaster. There was nothing behind it except insulation and empty space between beams. I told myself it was rats, but rats don't knock evenly. Rats scratch. This was deliberate. 3 taps. Then a whisper. "Hello!" I shot up in bed so fast I hit my head on the wall. The voice was soft, childlike, almost sweet, but it didn't echo like it was in the room. It sounded trapped, like it was inside the wall. I froze. Every instinct told me not to answer, but something about the way it said hello. It didn't sound evil, it sounded scared. So I did the worst thing possible. I whispered back. "Hello?" Silence. I waited. My ears rang from the quiet. Then the knocking came again, this time faster. 3 taps. 3 taps. 3 taps. And then the voice. "You hear me?" I couldn't breathe. I reached for my phone and turned on the flashlight, shining it directly at the wall. Nothing. Just cracked paint and faint shadows. I pressed my ear against it. It was cold. Then I heard breathing. Slow. Unsteady. Like a child trying not to cry. I stumbled backward. This house was built in 1972. I checked the listing before I bought it. No hidden rooms. No weird renovations. Just a simple 2-bedroom home at the edge of town. I didn't sleep that night. The knocking stopped around 3 a.m. Or maybe I just passed out from fear. The next morning, I convinced myself it had been a dream. Stress does strange things to the mind, but when I walked into the hallway, I saw something that made my stomach drop. 3 small handprints, pressed into the paint, from the inside. The wall was bulging slightly where the prints were, as if something had pushed outward from behind it. I touched one. The paint felt thin, fragile. I stepped back slowly. There was no attic access above that section. No crawl space behind it. No reason for a hollow echo. I knocked gently on the wall. Nothing. Just solid resistance. I tried to laugh it off. Maybe moisture damage. Maybe I imagined the shape. But that night, at exactly to 17 a.m., it came back. 3 taps. Pause. 3 taps. I didn't respond this time. I just lay there, heart racing, staring at the wall. Then the voice whispered again. "You didn't leave." It sounded disappointed, like I had failed the test. I swallowed. "I can hear you," I said quietly. The breathing got closer. Closer than before. The wall vibrated faintly. "You're not supposed to hear me," the child whispered. Something cold slid down my spine. "What do you mean?" I asked. There was a long pause. Then, scratching. Not rat scratching. Slow dragging fingernails across plaster. "You're in my room." My stomach dropped. "This is my house," I said. Silence. Then a soft laugh. "No," the voice said gently. "It's mine." The knocking became frantic. Not 3 taps anymore. Just pounding. Tiny fists hitting the wall from inside. "Let me out," the child cried. I jumped out of bed. The wall shook. Dust fell from the ceiling, and for one horrifying second, I saw the outline of a small face pressing outward beneath the paint. Eyes. Nose. Mouth opening wide in a silent scream. Then it was gone. The wall went still, completely normal again. I didn't wait. I grabbed a hammer from the garage. My hands were shaking so badly I could barely hold it. If something was inside my walls, I needed to know. I stood in the hallway, staring at the handprints. The house was silent. Too silent. Then I heard it again. But this time, it wasn't coming from the bedroom wall. It was coming from inside the hallway, behind the paint. 3 taps. Pause. 3 taps. It was moving, whatever was inside my walls. It wasn't stuck. It was crawling, and it was getting closer to the front door. If you think this is where I ran out of the house and never came back, I wish that were true. But I stayed, because the next thing it said changed everything. Please, the child whispered. He's still here. My blood ran cold. Who? I asked before I could stop myself. There was a long silence, then a single knock. Right behind me. I slowly turned around. The wall beside the front door bulged outward, and a tiny hand pressed against the paint. He lives in the dark, the child whispered. And that's when the lights in the house went out. Every single one. Complete darkness. The knocking stopped, but something else started. Footsteps. Not inside the walls. Inside the house. The footsteps were slow. Heavy. They didn't sound like a child. I stood frozen in the dark hallway, gripping the hammer so tight my fingers hurt. The power hadn't flickered. It had shut off. Completely. No hum from the refrigerator. No ticking clock. No outside streetlight bleeding through the windows, just darkness. And breathing. Not mine. Something exhaled from the other end of the hallway. Deep. Adult. Controlled. The child's voice came back, faint and shaking. Don't let him see you. I dropped to the floor instantly. The footsteps stopped. Silence filled the house so completely it felt solid. Then the knocking started again. But this time it wasn't near me. It was above me. Inside the ceiling. 3 taps. Pause. 3 taps. Like the child was trying to guide me, I crawled toward the living room. Each movement felt loud. My knees scraped against the wood floor. Another step echoed from somewhere near the kitchen, not inside the walls. On the floor, something was standing there. I could feel it, watching, waiting. Then the child whispered directly above me. Bathroom. I didn't hesitate. I moved fast. The hallway felt longer than usual, like the house had stretched. When I reached the bathroom door, it creaked as I pushed it open. The knocking stopped. Dead silence, then one single tap from behind the shower wall. I turned on my phone, flashlight again. The beam flickered, but it stayed on. The shower wall had faint cracks running down it, thin, like hairline fractures. And right in the center, a small circle in the tile, perfectly round, about the size of a doorknob. My heart pounded in my ears. I stepped closer, and I heard it, breathing, from inside the wall. Soft, weak, scared. I'm here, I whispered. The child let out a quiet sob. He's looking, the voice said. The bathroom mirror suddenly cracked, not shattered. Just a long, thin fracture spreading from top to bottom, he spun around. The air felt wrong. Heavy, like something had stepped into the room behind me. But nothing was there. The knocking became frantic again, from inside the shower wall. Open it, the child begged. My brain screamed not to. Every horror story ever told starts with someone opening something they shouldn't. But that breathing, it didn't sound fake. It sounded real. Human. I lifted the hammer and struck the tile. The sound exploded in the small bathroom. Tile cracked instantly. I hit it again and again until a hole formed. Dust poured out. The smell hit me first. Old air, stale, like something sealed away for decades. I widened the hole enough to shine my flashlight inside. There was space back there, more than there should have been. Not just insulation, a hollow gap, deep. And inside that darkness, I saw fingers, small, pale, curled around a wooden beam. I stumbled backward. The fingers tightened, then slowly disappeared into the darkness. "You can see me now," the child whispered. My throat felt dry. "What is this?" I asked. "You found my room," the voice replied. Room. The word echoed in my head. I shined the light again. This time I saw something else. Fabric old rotting, like a blanket wedged between beams. And behind it, movement. Slow shifting, as if someone were crouched there. "How long have you been here?" I asked. The child didn't answer. Instead, something else spoke. From the hallway, a voice deeper than before. Not loud, but close. "You shouldn't have opened that." My blood froze. The flashlight flickered wildly. The bathroom light suddenly turned on. Blinding bright, I spun toward the doorway. No one stood there, but the air felt occupied, like heat radiating off a body. The child whimpered inside the wall. "He found you." The bathroom door slowly creaked shut on its own. I ran to grab it, but it slammed before I could reach it. The lock clicked. By itself, I was trapped. The hole in the shower wall widened on its own. Plaster cracked. Tile snapped. Pieces fell to the floor. And from inside the darkness, a small face pushed forward. Not fully solid, more like it was pressing through something thin. Eyes wide. Too wide. Skin pale. Lips cracked. The child looked about 8 years old, and terrified. "Please," the child whispered. The voice from outside the door came closer. Slow footsteps. Heavy again. "You let it see me?" the deep voice said. The bathroom temperature dropped instantly. My breath fogged in front of me. The child reached one hand through the hole, but it didn't come fully out. It was like something was holding it back. Long, dark shadows crawled across the ceiling. Not cast from anything visible, just stretching shapes that moved on their own. "He keeps us in the walls," the child said quickly. "Us?" I asked. The knocking started again, but not just from this wall. From everywhere. Bedroom, living room, kitchen. 3 taps, all around me, all at once. Different rhythms, different distances. Children, more than one. The deep voice outside the door grew louder. You weren't supposed to hear them. The doorknob began to twist slowly, back and forth. Testing the lock, the child's eyes locked onto mine. "If he opens it," the child whispered, "you'll stay too." My heart slammed against my ribs. "What is he?" I asked. The child shook its head slightly. "He builds rooms where there aren't any." The ceiling above me thudded, like something massive had dropped onto it. Dust rained down. The mirror cracked further, spreading like veins. The doorknob stopped moving. Silence again. Then a final whisper from the hallway. "He's already inside." The bathroom light exploded. Glass raining down. Darkness swallowed the room, and the hole in the shower wall suddenly expanded wide enough for the child to crawl halfway out, but the lower half of its body didn't exist. It faded into black, like it was still attached to something deeper inside. "He's coming," the child said. And this time, the knocking wasn't in the walls. It was under the floor, directly beneath my feet. 3 slow taps. Pause. 3 slow taps, and something began pushing upward from below the tiles. The tiles beneath my feet began to crack. Not all at once, just small fractures spreading outward like spiderwebs. The knocking from below grew louder. 3 taps. Pause. 3 taps. The child's grip tightened on the edge of the broken shower wall. "You have to leave," the child whispered urgently. "He builds faster when he's angry." The floor bulged upward slightly, like something underneath was pressing its full weight against it. I backed toward the sink. My breathing was uneven now. My mind couldn't keep up with what my eyes were seeing. The child looked at me with wide, desperate eyes. "You can still get out," the child said. "We couldn't." Before I could ask what that meant, the bathroom door shook violently. The knob twisted hard, then stopped. Silence returned, but it didn't feel empty. It felt patient. The floor beneath me gave way suddenly, not completely collapsing, but sinking inward by a few inches, like something had hollowed it out from below. The child gasped. "He's opening another room." The tiles split open in a thin line. Darkness poured through the crack like liquid shadow, and from that crack, I saw wood. Old beams, framing that didn't belong to this house's layout. I knew the blueprint. There was no lower level here, no hidden crawl space beneath this bathroom. But something had made one. I dropped to my knees and shined my flickering flashlight into the widening gap. There was space down there. A narrow chamber, barely tall enough for someone to crouch. And inside that space, I saw scratches covering the beams. Thousands of them. Tally marks. Carved into the wood, some were small and uneven, like a child had made them. My stomach twisted. "How many?" I whispered. The child's voice trembled. He doesn't like noise. The flashlight beam moved deeper, and I saw something else. Faded drawings, stick figures, a house, a tall, dark shape beside it, and tiny stick children drawn behind walls. Trapped. A sudden loud bang echoed from somewhere inside the house. Not the bathroom, the living room. Then, another bang from the kitchen, like doors slamming shut. The child flinched violently. "He's checking," the child said. The crack in the floor widened further. I could see deeper into the hidden chamber now, and that's when I noticed something horrifying. There were bones, small ones, lying scattered near the back. Not many, but enough. The air turned colder. My hand shook so badly the flashlight nearly slipped from my grip. The child leaned closer to me. "Don't look at him if you see him," the child whispered. "He builds you in when you see him." A loud dragging sound scraped across the ceiling above us. Slow. Heavy. Like something massive moving through tight spaces. The walls began to vibrate. Not violently. Just subtly, like breathing. The entire house felt alive. I heard knocking from the bedroom. 3 taps. From the hallway, 3 taps. From inside the sink cabinet, 3 taps. More children, each knock slightly different. Each desperate. I pressed my ear to the floor crack, and I heard faint crying from deeper below. Multiple voices, overlapping, whispering, calling out. The child gripping the shower wall began fading slightly, like static interfering with a signal. "He's close," the child said. "You opened a way." The bathroom mirror shattered completely. Glass rained down around me, and for a split second, I saw something reflected in the shards. A tall figure standing behind me, too tall for the room. Its head nearly touching the ceiling, no face. Just a shadow where a face should be. Long arms stretching unnaturally toward the walls. A spoon, around, nothing there. But the air felt compressed, like pressure before a storm. The child's voice grew weaker. "He makes spaces where there aren't any," the child repeated. "He puts us in the empty parts." The floor crack expanded suddenly, a full opening now. revealing the narrow chamber below, and I realized something terrifying. This chamber wasn't just beneath the bathroom. It extended under the hallway, under the bedroom, under the entire house. Hidden rooms built between structure and foundation. Places no blueprint ever showed. Places no inspector would find. The knocking intensified. Now, synchronized. 3 taps. Pause. 3 taps. From everywhere, the tall shadow began forming again in the broken mirror shards. Clearer this time. Its arms were inside the walls, inside the ceiling, inside the floor, like it was woven into the structure itself. "You're loud," the deep voice whispered. "Not from outside. From inside the beams, inside the wood, you broke my quiet." The child screamed, a sound so sharp it pierced through the ringing in my ears. The shadow's arms extended farther. Stretching across the walls, the plaster began sealing itself. Closing the shower hole, closing the floor crack. Rebuilding, as if the house were repairing the damage. "He's sealing it!" the child cried. "You have to choose." "Choose what?" I shouted. But the child's face was already fading. "You can leave," the child whispered, "or stay and help us." The shadow loomed larger, its presence suffocating. The bathroom walls began shifting inward slightly, the space narrowing, compressing, like the room itself was becoming another hidden chamber. I scrambled toward the opening in the floor. It was shrinking. The chamber below, darkening, the faint cries echoing upward. The shadow's voice came again. Calm, almost gentle. "They belong in the walls." A beam cracked loudly behind me. The house groaned. The child's face flickered one last time. "If you leave," the child said softly, "he'll keep building." The floor gap was nearly closed now. I had seconds. Behind me, the bathroom door slowly began to open. Not by the knob, but splitting down the middle, like wood separating. And inside that widening darkness, I saw more shadows moving. Smaller ones, crawling along the frame, watching me, waiting. The child's final words echoed faintly. "He doesn't stop," and the floor beneath me collapsed completely, dropping me into the hidden chamber below. Total darkness swallowed me, and something sealed the ceiling shut above my head. I hit the ground hard. The air left my lungs in one sharp burst. Dust filled my mouth, and for a moment, there was no sound at all. Then the knocking started again, not from the walls above. From all around me, 3 taps. Pause. 3 taps. Close. Dot. Close. I turned on my flashlight. The beam was weak now. Battery almost gone, but it was enough to show me where I had fallen. The chamber was narrow, barely 4 feet high. Wooden beams stretched in every direction, and between them, more spaces, more rooms, stacked like a maze beneath the house. Scratches covered every surface, tiny handprints in dust, small blankets routing in corners. I swallowed hard. This wasn't one hidden space. It was dozens, built between structure and foundation, impossibly geometry, like the house had grown extra layers inside itself. The knocking moved, not random. Guiding, leading. 3 taps from the left. I crawled toward it. My knees scraped against rough wood. 3 taps from ahead. Then 3 taps behind me. They were surrounding me. Or maybe protecting me. I didn't know anymore. "Are you there?" I whispered. Soft crying answered from somewhere in the darkness. More than one voice, more than 5. More tent in my heart pounded. "I'm here," I said louder, and then I heard it. A deeper sound, not knocking. Breathing. Heavy but slow. Behind the beams, the temperature dropped instantly. The flashlight flickered violently. The wood around me shifted, Not breaking. Rearranging. Like something was adjusting the layout. You came down. The deep voice echoed. It wasn't loud. It didn't need to be. It filled the space naturally. You're curious? I turned slowly. The beam caught movement. Tall. Too tall. To stand upright here, its limbs bent at unnatural angles. Its shape sliding between beams like smoke. You shouldn't build rooms for children, I said, my voice shaking. A pause. Then a low sound. Almost amusement. They don't like the quiet, it replied. The knocking around me became frantic. 3 taps. 3 taps. 3 taps. All directions. The deep voice continued calmly. They scream above. So I moved them below. My stomach twisted. The flashlight caught something on the beam beside me. Names. Carved into wood. Dozens. Hundreds. Some faded with age, some fresh. The wood behind me suddenly shifted, closing one path, opening another. The maze was changing. The children's knocking moved in rhythm, guiding me again, away from the shadow. Why keep them? I asked. Silence. Then the answer. Walls are meant to hold things. The temperature dropped further. My breath fogged. The beam flickered again. I crawled faster. The knocking led me deeper. Through narrow gaps, through beams that hadn't been there seconds ago. The shadow moved smoothly through the structure. It didn't crawl. It flowed. The chamber widened slightly ahead, and I saw them. Faint shapes. Children. Half visible, like reflections in smoke. Some seating, some curled up, some staring at me with hollow, exhausted eyes. They weren't fully solid, like they existed between the wood, between layers of space. You opened it, one whispered. You heard us, another said. The deep voice moved closer. The beams groaned under pressure. You don't belong here, it said, but you will. The wood above me sealed tighter, cutting off any light from the house. I was fully inside now, part of the structure. The children began knocking in unison. 3 taps. Pause. 3 taps. The rhythm grew louder, stronger. The shadow recoiled slightly. You're loud. It hissed. The knocking intensified. The maze trembled. The beams cracked. For the first time, the shadow's shape flickered, distorted. The children were fighting it. With sound, with rhythm, with presence. You can leave, one child whispered to me, or stay and help us break in my mind. Rashid, if I left, this thing would keep building. Keep taking, keep sealing. If I stayed, I would never be seen again. The shadow lunged. Fast. Its form stretching toward me. The children screamed. The knocking became thunderous. The structure began collapsing. Beams snapping. Spaces folding inward. The flashlight died. Total darkness swallowed everything. And in that darkness, I made my choice. I started knocking. 3 taps. Pause. 3 taps. Over and over. The children followed. The rhythm became overwhelming. The shadow shrieked. Not loud, but sharp, like wood splitting. The maze cracked apart. The pressure shifted violently. Light burst through gaps above. Boards tore open. Plaster shattered. The house screamed as its hidden layers ripped apart. And then, silence. I woke up outside, on the lawn, morning light in my eyes. The house stood in front of me, normal, quiet, still. No damage. No broken windows, no cracked walls, no missing sections. Like nothing had happened. I stumbled to my feet, shaking. The bathroom window looked untouched. The hallway walls smooth, no handprints, no cracks, no bulges. Just an ordinary house. For a moment, I thought it was over, until I heard it. Faint, Soft. From inside the exterior wall beside the front door. 3 taps. Pause. 3 taps. My heart stopped. I pressed my ear against the siding, and I heard a voice, not a child's. Mine. Help us. My blood ran cold. I stepped back slowly. The knocking continued, from different walls now. Spreading. Moving. Inside the structure. Inside the beams. Inside the foundation. The house wasn't fixed. It had rebuilt itself, and it had learned my voice. If you're listening to this on Unblinking right now, and you've ever heard unexplained knocking in your walls, don't answer it. Don't tap back. Because once it knows you can hear it, it starts building space for you too. If you made it this far, comment below and tell me what you would have done. Would you leave, or would you stay and knock back? Like this video if it made your skin crawl. Share it with someone who lives in an old house, and subscribe to Unblinking for more stories that don't blink first. Because somewhere, right now, 3 taps are echoing. Pause. 3 taps, and someone just heard them.